What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Macy Vessell Show with your host, of course, me, Macy Vessell. As y'all can see, if you're watching on YouTube, I got my hair done. I'm very excited about this new style. If you watched or listened to the pilot episode, y'all know that I am 24, about to be turning 25 really, really soon. So it's very important for me to keep myself up and being able to provide everything that I need to when it comes to bettering myself as a woman overall. So I noticed when I got into the real world, people, when you graduate, people like to call it the real world. When I got into the real world, I realized that I wasn't keeping up with myself the way I wanted to, unless it was for social media. And, when it comes to me, my career is into social media, which, a lot of people would say it will make sense for me to, do that only for social media. But at the same time, I realized I can't do it for the gram and for the other people. And the people that's around me 24/7 are seeing me look like a chicken head. I said that doesn't correlate. So I got up and I told myself, Macy, keep your hair done. The topic of today's episode will be how not to compare yourself, being in your early 20s, and embracing where you are. Comparison. What is comparison? A lot of people will ask, what exactly is comparing yourself? Comparing yourself means that you aren't fully satisfied or grateful to where you are or to what you have at the moment. So when it comes to comparing yourself, it's very easy, especially in this day and age with social media. It's very easy to look at someone else's life and to think, wow, I want that. Wow, I need that. Wow, why can't that be me? I can simply tell you why it can't be you, or probably why it shouldn't be you, because you're not them, they're not you. You're not supposed to have the same life as someone else, nor the same exact things as someone else as well. Now, when it does come to comparisons, comparing yourself versus being inspired by somebody are two different things. I'm inspired by so many women that are into mass comm, that are into glamifying themselves, being sassy, being fabulous. But I don't compare myself to them. Like, I don't compare my wardrobe to, somebody that I will look up to. I can't. We're in two different pathways, two different viewpoints. I feel like a lot of people compare what they have, and they don't realize how much it took for that person to get it that they're comparing themselves to. And they don't realize how much stress, blood, tears, work. A lot of stuff goes into having things, and a lot of people only want the benefit and not go through the mud, the fire, and the climb to get it. Sometimes it doesn't even be great positive things for them to receive their reward. Sometimes they sell their souls. Sometimes they do negative things. Sometimes they lower their standard of what they feel is their standard because they want to have this thing, or they want to make sure I don't miss out on this, I don't miss out on that. I tell people all the time, there is no way you can miss out on something that is meant for you. There is just absolutely no way you can miss out on it unless you're not doing your part to receive your reward. Now, for example, I know a lot of people say, Macy, I want to start a podcast. How do you start a podcast? And I can give them all the instructions and they still would never start it, because people don't realize how much blood, sweat, and tears it takes to go into the work that you have. So people love seeing the end result. They love seeing what they could get out of it or what they could benefit from it, but they don't want to put in the work to get it. And that's why I tell people, how can you compare yourself to that person when that person probably stayed up 12 hours straight, no sleep, no eating, no this or that to get to where they are, and you feel like that you deserve to be up there with them and you ain't even do nothing but lay on your back? No, that's not how life works. You have to get up and you have to demand what you want. You have to work for what you want. There is nothing that's going to come and be handed to you on a silver platter. Now, some people are born into silver platters, but that is on their life. You can't compare your get it out the mud life to somebody's silver platter life. Y'all come from two different backgrounds. And it's very important to embrace where you are. That's how you slow down the comparisons. Once you realize how grateful and blessed you are in this moment, There's no reason for you to want or yearn for something more because you're satisfied with what you have. The reason I tell people I feel like you should always be grateful for what you have and where you are is because I feel like if you compare yourself to someone else and you have all this and that and you're still comparing to what you don't have, I think that's your way of telling God you're not grateful. Me personally, I tell myself all the time, I have to stay positive. I have to stay gracious. I have to stay humble. And I have to make sure I don't compare my life to no one else's, because I feel like if I compare my life to someone else's, that is my way of telling God what he has in store for me or what he has done for me isn't good enough. And what I look like telling God he isn't good enough? That's crazy. I would never. So I tell people, do not compare. And I think comparing also was kind of installed in especially a lot of girls growing up that if somebody doesn't like you or this and that, they're jealous of you. And of course, sometimes it was correct. You know, mamas do be right. Some children might have been jealous of you. But I feel like that mindset, if you keep that kind of mindset and you just grow up and become that adult that feels like everyone is jealous of you because this or that, then you're stuck in a mindset of a child. I feel like in today's age, you shouldn't be worried about how someone feels about you, how somebody thinks about you, how somebody I just feel like you shouldn't worry about what nobody says nor thinks about you. You know, you're God's child. You're not their child. So why do they even care? I tell people all the time, I keep myself out the mix. I don't want to be in the mix. I don't want to know what's going on. I don't want to know the latest kickback. I don't care. I like being to myself. And when it comes to people in their 20s, a lot of people in their 20s feel like they have to rush this lifestyle, especially like I said earlier with social media. There is no reason to rush anything. Half of these people y'all are looking up to either sold their soul, either are doing dirty work to get to where they are, or they're just horrible people sometimes. Sometimes some of these people that y'all are looking up to would not even spit on you if you were on fire. So stop comparing your lifestyle to theirs. So, being in your early 20s, it can be a lot because a lot of stuff can be confusing and it also can be very amusing at the same time. It's kind of like you're just starting adulthood. So, I feel like you shouldn't force yourself to know everything because there's no way of knowing everything. A lot of things take time. Some lessons that you may need to learn won't happen until a certain situation or event or scenario happens. Sometimes you have to be patient and just wait for that to happen so you can be able to learn everything you need to learn from it. And also, it's very important to embrace where you are because where you want to be, sometimes you can only get there if you go through what you are going through right now. Some moments can only happen unless you learn certain lessons from certain events or scenarios that have to happen first for you to get to where you want to be. Now, me personally, ever since college, I told people, you know, I was going to go down the path that God had set in store for me. I didn't have any plans after college. I didn't know what I was doing, honestly, truly. I'm still winging it, but I have God on my side, so I don't stress or overthink or think something isn't going to happen because I know all good things are coming to me. But I have to put in the work. I have to cry sometimes. I have to be sad sometimes. I have to hear yeses. I have to hear nos. I have to get redirections to get to where I want to be. And a lot of people would hear a no and just give up, especially in your early 20s. This is the wrong time to try to give up, okay? A lot of goals that a lot of people set are just too unrealistic to finish in one decade. You know, so you have to give yourself time to get to your 30s, to get to your 40s, to understand that a lot of the stuff that you want to grasp in your 20s isn't attainable for you right now. After I graduated, you know, a lot of people probably thought that I was just gonna shoot out to LA and start doing interviews on red carpets. You know, it's good to think big like that, but I always knew that I wasn't ready nor prepared to just start and jump into stardom. I know that it's so many lessons I still have to learn in order to get to where I want to be when it comes to my career. In what ways do I embrace where I am? So right now, I currently work at Ross, which is a retail store, but I also DoorDash time to time when I get extra chance because extra money. Who doesn't need extra money? So I try to use what I can and utilize all the tools that I have to better myself for the future. If you're not utilizing the tools and everything that you have set for you to use right now, then how could you say that you want more when you're not even doing more when you have less? You have to be able to be grateful for what you have right now and where you are because, for example, I know me personally, I want my own studio. I want my own, you know, when I say a studio, I mean like a broadcast studio, like for entertainment purposes, for performance arts, for, just big creative things. But how could I want a studio and I was just sitting in my apartment, not allowing me to use the space that I have right now to start my podcast? You see what I'm saying? I have to start this to get there, to get there, to get there. It's like a constant build up. Miley Cyrus says it's the climb. It's literally the climb. You have to be able to go through everything and not think about the reward, because once you start fiending and thinking about the reward and drooling over the reward, now you're ready to not put in the work to get it because you're just so excited and anxious. Once you get anxious and once anxiety enters your body, I feel like that's a sign that things are going to start being unbalanced, because when you're doing something that you love or something that you have a passion for, there's no reason for you to want to be anxious about it. Before I started this project, I was very anxious about it. I was wanting to start here, wanting to start there. I would post snippets of, me putting my room together, and then months will go by and I'm posting another snippet of me putting my room together for the show and I never started it. You have to be able to allow yourself to wait for the perfect timing before you just rush into something. Because once you rush, well, first of all, there's honestly never a rush for anything. I always tell people the turtle won the race, not the hare. So you have to be able to go at your own pace and not look at what the next person is doing, because you are where you are and you might want to be where that next person is, but at the same time, you're not doing the work to get there. So how can you say that I want to be where she or he is and you're not even blessed or utilizing the tools that you have right now? That's like self-sabotage. You have to be able to know that everything comes at its own timing. And if you're not prepared for your blessing at the moment that it's supposed to come, I feel like that's a talk that you need to have with God to make sure that you're not procrastinating or slowing down your own progress. A lot of people try to wait for things to be perfect to start, but there's no such thing as perfection. You have to just trust in yourself and know that, hey, if I do this, this will give me greater results. If I do this, this will give me a greater mindset. You can't rush and jump into things expecting the outcome to be beautiful all the time. You have to know that sometimes things will be saddening and sometimes things might not go the way you want it to go. Like, for instance, with my show, I might expect 30 streams and I might only get 2, but I'm grateful for those 2 and I keep it pushing and I keep going. And also with me turning 25 soon, I feel like I'm getting a lot more mature. And mind you, I've always been mature, but since I know that 25 is around the corner, I just feel myself wanting to be calm and not be anxious about anything that's supposed to happen into my life. And also when it comes to the door dashing, do I like it? Do I like doing DoorDash all the time? No. Do I need to do it when I do it? Yes. So you know what I do when I know I need an extra cash tip or anything? I get up and I go DoorDash. Or I get up and go hustle. I get up and I just get up. I get up. The biggest thing is just starting. You have to start where you are. If you can't start where you are, then that means that you're not satisfied, and that's the only way your blessings are going to come. Don't try to chase the most expensive or biggest things because someone else has it. Focus on what's important to you. Focus on what you like. Me personally, I love cameras. So I have a whole collection of cameras. Some people might say I have too many. Some people would ask why I want more, but that's just my passion. I pour into my passion because my passion pours into me. Like how, for instance, I'm literally recording on a camera. I have digital cameras for my pictures I take. Literally everything that I have is because it's supposed to go to a purpose or my passion. So when you see these people driving around in these expensive cars, understand that some of them worked for it, but like I said earlier, some of them had to do some things, for a piece of change. Some people had to rob Peter to pay Paul. Like, it's so many ways that people get around. You cannot compare your lifestyle to anyone else's. If you find any reason to complain or try to find an excuse in every reason or way on why you can't do something, then I feel like you don't want it bad enough. If you want something bad enough, you're going to make sure to make a way for what you want. Just like if you want to eat, you make sure to find time in your day to get some food. Just like if you want to binge watch on TikTok, you find some time to binge watch on TikTok. So if you have a passion and you want bigger in life, I feel like there's no excuse for it. If you really want it, you will find a way to get it, or you'll find a way to get closer to your goal, or you'll network with people that might be able to help you. You just never know until you get up and try. Also, since I'm turning 25 soon, I definitely feel myself always not wanting to be bothered with foolishness. I don't like ignorance. I don't like people that try to bully others, or I don't like people that think they are better than others because they have this or that. Nobody is better than anybody, and nobody has the right to judge anybody. Honestly, truly, all of us have something wrong with ourselves. We all have something that we may be insecure about. We all have something that we may regret in life. We all have something that we have to repent to God over. So don't ever compare yourself, because we all have to meet our maker one day. Once you trust that what he has for you and what he has established for your life is good enough, then you will never compare yourself again, because you'll be able to finally and realize that you are grateful for where you are. So once you get to that moment of being grateful for all things and everything, then I promise you everything is going to get better, and everything always gets better. I tell people that all the time. Just because you're going through something right now doesn't mean that that's the end. There is always a sun at the end of the rainbow. Always. Sometimes you have to go through the mud to get to where you are. Sometimes your shoes have to get muddy, but that's why you can clean your shoes and keep walking. You know, anything that is hard in this life, don't treat it as something that is a beat down or a letdown. It's not supposed to be, and it shouldn't be. And also, don't allow where someone else is in life to make you feel like what you're doing isn't good enough. What you're doing is actually more than enough. If you know that you are pouring into yourself mentally, if you know you are showing up for yourself every day, going to work, pouring into what you want to do as a passion, if you know that you're chasing your goals, chasing your dreams, you are doing enough. Sometimes just sitting and breathing is enough. You don't always have to work. And that is one lesson that I am definitely learning going into 25. I don't always have to work. I'm not falling into this culture where you have to hustle all the time. No, that's not why we are here. We're not here to work all the time. And I, feel for the ones that have to work because they have to meet financial goals. But when it comes to finances, you can't rely and put your all into it. You have to put your all into God. He's the one that provides the finances for you. I used to drive myself crazy working at Old Navy, then trying to DoorDash after. And then, mind you, I already worked about 7 hours on my feet all day and then go DoorDash for about 4 hours. No, that stuff will get tiring. So I slowed down and I realized everything really just comes when you allow it to come. So like I said, please don't compare yourself. Embrace where you are and enjoy your early 20s. And thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of The Macy Vessell Show. Make sure y'all subscribe on YouTube and stream on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow me on all social medias at The Macy Vessell. And I'll see y'all next time.